woods and bring it and put it on the garden. That was a job. At times he would pick me up from either a friend's or sometimes a school dance or something, and my dad was known for pulling the car over erratically quickly to pick up bags of leaves. So what my dad, his quest was really to get rid of the grass and make it all woods again. So that's what we did. We, with my friends in the car, what's your dad doing? He's just getting leaves for our lawn. So none of it really was unusual. I didn't think it was unusual until I thought about it years later. So because my dad had 3 sons, we always had chores to do. There was things that we always had to do. And he used to build brick walkways. And so he used to find a place where he could scam, lightly steal, beg, or borrow for bricks. So we were taking a foundation down in Homedale, and he would teach you that when you were carrying bricks, there was at least 6 up one arm and 2 in the other hand. You don't go to the truck without at least 8 bricks in your hand. So he taught me how to carry bricks. One thing he really did teach me is it was always about 80-20. Use your mind 80% of the time, then use your muscle only 20% of the time. So he was always about trying to be, use your common sense, be smart, and make yourself better. During those years in Homedale, we were lucky enough to get horse manure for him. And it used to go on to the back of the Nankervis's truck. And that was done by a front end loader, which was really nice, but we'd have to shovel it off this big truck. And so when it was time to leave the Nankervis's farm and go down to Glen Way, we had this time where we could take the turds and throw them at cars behind us. And that was a constant thing that we grabbed, and you always were looking for ones that had some age. You didn't want the green ones, I trust you. You wanted some that was sitting out in the sun for a little while. And we used to just wail on the cars that were behind us. And I don't think Dad ever knew what was going on, but I enjoyed that, and I think my brothers did too. My dad was committed to whatever he was doing, and I admired him in that. I didn't always agree with him on that, but I admired him on that. His ability to be committed to my brother Sean was amazing for the 3 years that he went through it. To watch what that guy went through, and for him to carry himself and never bitch and moan about it was amazing. I think one of the times that I enjoyed the most is I went to visit Sean in New York, and I was going to a Who concert by myself. And so I asked the old man to give me a ride and drop me by Madison Square Garden. And I just remember that ride with Sean and with my dad. It was just like the 3 boys. It was so cool. And I was going to see the concert, and Sean wanted to go but knew he couldn't go. And so we had promised him we would get tickets and take him to see Yes the following year. I think Jude would know. We went. He didn't make it, but in spirit he was there. He taught me to be strong. He taught me that when things got difficult, start enjoying it. When times got rough, stand up, don't bitch about it, don't cry about it, don't moan about it, run through it and get it done, which I've taught my boys, which is important. He wasn't religious. Religion didn't matter to him. If you see upstairs, Judy was nice enough to put it on one of the posters. His religion was treat everybody right all the time. And if you don't, own up to it and say you didn't. And that's kind of the way he was. I through this process with my dad dying, I never realized how many people would reach out to me about it. And I never really thought about it until it was happening. But he didn't have any enemies. He really just had, everybody had nice things to say to him. Cards that I got from the nursing home where he was staying, everything was positive. And it was nice, and it was nice to see. And hopefully I can carry that cross, although it's a tough one. He explained to me about being chief in Indians. He said that you're a chief, you're not an Indian. Get used to it. You're born a chief and you don't realize it yet, but you're going to be the person that carries the cross, carries the torch. You're the person that's going to, help other people and guide them along. You're not an Indian. You're a chief. which I took on and did. Things that I realized over time with my dad is my dad really loved his parents. He loved his mother, he loved his father. He always, some of his best memories when I would talk to him about it was really about his mother and his father. And that to me speaks worlds for just the fact that he really appreciated his parents and he was close with his parents. And he loved his brother and he loved his sister. And I think that was special. Not everybody has that in their life. And so I got that with him. He didn't have to tell me that. I just felt that he really enjoyed his mom and his dad. We had one time when we were coming home from Cape Cod, and of course we were clammers, or I was the clammer. He'd watch or tell me, no, put it back, whatever. So we took all these clams and we're going back to Jersey. And we're in a 1972 station wagon where they used to have the little hole in the back that you could open up for more storage. So Dad says, all right, take all the clams and put them in there. Cool. Okay, so we drive the 6.5 hours from Chatham, Cape Cod, all the way down to Jersey. When we get to Jersey, we pop them open, and what we didn't realize that all the friction of the car had actually cooked the clams. So we get there, we're all open, and he says, well, no better time than now to start eating the clams. So we start eating the clams right out of the back of the truck, the back of the. So it was interesting. I wasn't afraid of it. For my brother Scott and for Judy, Judy was able to give my dad the love that none of us really could give him. I mean, she loved that man to death. And us being guys, I mean, I loved my dad tremendously, but she would go the extra yard. I mean, if she had to walk on coals for my dad, she would have done it. My brother, Scott, on the other hand, had the ability to forgive my dad for a lot of things or just things that dads do to kids sometimes, or things are not important enough. But Scott was able to do that, and for that I give you credit for it. It's not easy. I'm almost done. In the years that I've worked with Quincy with his music and helping him manage, over time, reading music blogs and trying to understand a business that it did not get, very different than mine. I read a blog, and the blog was really about, if you're an artist, continue to be an artist and continue working on it relentlessly. And for every artist, there is a fan. I was a fan of my father's. I was a big fan. For many reasons. I have one more and then I'm done. What I remember about my dad is that at a young age, my dad, I must have done something wrong, and it was the belt. You would get the belt. And my dad would swing the belt at me, and I had the ability and speed to never let the belt hit me. And he would chase me over time, over couches, behind couches, around TVs, things like that. And as time went on, he used to start getting pissed that I was able just to move out of the way just in time as we did it. And so finally he caught me and hit me with that belt, and it hurt, and it hurt. And I got down, I was holding the belt, and I started crying. And then he felt bad, and then he felt bad. And then, so it was the truth. I really was hurt, and it did hurt bad. But then I was like, ha ha, I gotcha. And then he got pissed again. And I was like, no, it really hurt. He taught me, without knowing it, to understand what throw up was. Because I came down the stairs once as a young kid, and he was really throwing up in the kitchen sink. And I was like, I didn't quite understand it. And I was a little kid, and I was tugging on him. He's like, not now, not now. But I think my dad liked to have a good time at night with my mom. Not sure why he was throwing up, but I'm just going to leave it. For years when we were younger, my dad used to be the Easter Bunny on Easter in Homedale Park. So you would go and, they'd hide the eggs in, but he was the Easter Bunny. And to see your dad in a big white costume with big ears, and then he'd have those fake teeth in there, I'd be like, oh, I didn't want to admit it was my dad. I was kind of keeping my distance. He had this unbelievable turkey call that he used to be able to do. Gobble, I can't even try, but it'd be like, gobble, gobble. And he did it really well, and we used to love him doing the turkey call. And I remember about 10 years ago or so, I asked him to do the turkey call, and he didn't have the lungs for it anymore. But he did, and Judy, you remember? I don't even know where Judy is. Yeah. And Scott, you remember the turkey call? And in 1970, we went to, for Christmas, we went up to the Funny Farm, where the Januzos owned the Funny Farm, and that was in Mumford, Vermont. My dad is responsible for turning me on to Vermont and keeping it in my blood. But we went skiing on Christmas Day, and my dad had red, white, and blue striped ski pants. And I just thought it was like really, really weird, but he was totally cool with it. And so I was skiing behind him, and he stopped, and I went right over the back of his skis, and he got pissed. And he said, "That's it. From now on, you ski in front of me, and that's it." But he used to wear some funny stuff, and that was one of them. He used to tuck us in at night as kids. Every night, Dad used to come to bed, and he would tuck you in. It would be like, and it wasn't every night, but it was most nights that he would go and he'd make his rounds with us 5 kids and tuck us in. That was some of the nicest memories that I had with him. And the last memory I have, and not to end on a bad note, but one of the things that always stick in my mind about my dad is how he said goodbye to my mom in the casket. And it was like he was meeting her, going out on the first time at the first date. There was so much passion there that I could see through his emotions that told me that my dad was a good man. He might have made some mistakes in his life, and I'm totally cool with that. I couldn't really or want to have his life. Not at all. Not with the losses and the things that he had to go through. I would never want to have his life. But he never bitched. He never complained about it. He just walked through it. Amos Mumford, you're a good man. Thank you very much.